Nobody in that fancy restaurant could have imagined that the dirty, tired man they were laughing at would own their jobs in just 2 weeks. Let me tell you this crazy story that happened in Seattle last year. So there's this guy named Marcus Webb. Marcus used to be a successful software engineer at a major tech company. He had money, a nice apartment, and everything seemed perfect. But then his company went through massive layoffs. Marcus lost his job. His savings ran out faster than he expected. He couldn't find work because the market was terrible. Before he knew it, Marcus was living on the streets. He spent his nights in shelters and his days trying to find work. One cold Tuesday morning, Marcus was walking past this upscale restaurant called the Sterling Room. He had been up all night because the shelter was full. He was exhausted and hungry. Marcus noticed they had a help wanted sign in the window for a dishwasher position. He thought maybe this was his chance to get back on his feet. So he walked in and asked to speak to the manager. The hostess looked him up and down with disgust. His clothes were worn and dirty from sleeping outside. He hadn't showered in days. But Marcus kept his dignity and politely asked about the job. The hostess rolled her eyes and called for the manager. This guy named Derek came out from the back. Derek took one look at Marcus and started laughing. He didn't even try to hide it. Derek said there was no way they would hire someone who looked like him. He said Marcus would scare away their wealthy customers. Other staff members started gathering around. They were all laughing and making jokes. One waiter said Marcus probably couldn't even spell dishwasher. The hostess held her nose and said he smelled terrible. Derek told Marcus to get out before he called the police. Some of the customers in the restaurant were watching too. A few of them were recording on their phones. One woman at a table said she was going to post it online. Marcus felt his face burn with shame, but he didn't argue or make a scene. He simply said thank you for your time and walked out. Here's what nobody in that restaurant knew. Marcus had been checking his email at the public library every day. Just that morning, he had received an email from a lawyer. His uncle, who he hadn't spoken to in years, had passed away. The uncle had left Marcus his entire estate. It was worth over $8 million. Marcus had the email on his phone, but he hadn't fully processed it yet. He was still in survival mode, just trying to find work and food. But after being humiliated at the Sterling Room, something clicked. Marcus went straight to the lawyer's office. He confirmed everything was real. Within 3 days, Marcus had access to the money. He got a hotel room, bought new clothes, and cleaned himself up. Then he started making calls. He found out that the Sterling Room was actually struggling financially. The owner had been trying to sell it for months. Marcus contacted the owner and made an offer to buy the entire building. Not just the restaurant, but the whole property. The owner accepted immediately. 2 weeks after being humiliated, Marcus walked back into the Sterling Room. This time, he was wearing a clean suit. He had a lawyer with him and the paperwork showing he now owned the building. Derek, the manager, was working that day. So were the hostess and the waiter who had mocked him. Marcus asked to speak to all the staff. They gathered in the dining room, confused about who this businessman was. Then Marcus reminded them of who he was. He told them he was the homeless man they had laughed at 2 weeks ago. You could see the color drain from their faces. Derek started stuttering and trying to apologize. The hostess looked like she might cry. Marcus stayed calm and professional. He told them he was now their landlord and the new owner. He said he would be making major changes to how the restaurant operated. Then he did something that shocked everyone. He fired Derek on the spot for his cruel behavior. But he didn't fire the other workers who had laughed. Instead, he gathered them together and gave them a choice. They could leave if they wanted, no hard feelings. Or they could stay and learn what real hospitality meant. He told them everyone deserves dignity, no matter how they look. Most of the staff chose to stay. Marcus hired a new manager who had experience working with homeless populations. He turned part of the restaurant into a program that hired people experiencing homelessness. He gave them jobs, training and support to get back on their feet. The story went viral on social media because some customers had posted the original humiliation online. News outlets picked it up. People loved the redemption arc. The Sterling Room became more popular than ever. Customers came specifically because they wanted to support Marcus's mission. The restaurant started making more money than it ever had before. Marcus used the profits to expand his hiring program to other businesses. He helped dozens of homeless people find employment and housing. Derek, the former manager, actually reached out months later to apologize properly. He said being fired was the wake-up call he needed. He had started volunteering at homeless shelters to make amends. Marcus appreciated the apology and even wrote him a recommendation letter. Today, Marcus runs a whole network of businesses that prioritize hiring people who are struggling. He hasn't forgotten what it felt like to be invisible and mocked. The Sterling Room has a plaque by the entrance now. It says everyone who walks through the door deserves respect and dignity. Several of the staff members who laughed at Marcus that day still work there. But they're different now. They treat every person who comes in like they matter, because they learned the hard way that you never know someone's story. You never know where they have been or where they're going. That homeless man asking for a job might be your future boss. That's the lesson everyone at the Sterling Room learned. And it's a lesson I think we all need to remember. One of the most amazing parts of this story is what happened to the woman who filmed the original incident. She posted the video to shame Marcus, thinking it was funny, but when the full story came out, she received so much backlash that she had to delete all her social media accounts. She later wrote Marcus a long apology letter explaining how ashamed she felt. Marcus wrote back and forgave her, which shows the kind of person he really is. The Sterling Room now has a wall dedicated to success stories. It features photos and testimonials from people who got their lives back on track through the program. There are former dishwashers who became chefs. There are servers who saved enough money to go back to school. One guy who started as a janitor now manages one of Marcus's other restaurants across town. The program has inspired other business owners in Seattle to do the same thing. A coffee shop owner started hiring homeless youth. A construction company began recruiting from shelters. Marcus accidentally started a whole movement just by turning his pain into purpose. What really gets me about this story is how easily it could have gone differently. Marcus could have used his money just to get revenge and nothing more. He could have shut down the restaurant and put everyone out of work. He could have sued them or publicly destroyed their reputations. But instead, he chose to create something positive from a negative experience. He chose education over revenge. He chose to lift people up instead of tearing them down. That takes a special kind of strength that most people don't have. If you ever find yourself in a position where someone treats you badly, remember Marcus's story. Remember that living well and doing good is always better than getting even. Remember that you can turn your worst moments into your greatest purpose. And most importantly, remember to treat everyone with kindness, because you truly never know what someone is going through or what they are capable of becoming.